everyone, this is Maddie here with Gallatin Valley Farm to School, and today I am leading you through a lesson called Seed Power. So this lesson looks at understanding the different parts of a seed and the process of germination. So if you don't know what germination means right now, don't worry, we'll look at it during this lesson. We will also practice making scientific drawings and labeling those drawings. And we're going to explore the inside of a seed. So as I move through this lesson, Seed Power, I have a few questions that I want you to think about. The first question is, what is a seed? The next question is, what makes a seed a seed? So, what makes a seed a seed? How is a seed different than something like a rock or a stick? Or how is a seed different than a plastic block even? What makes that seed a seed? We're also going to think about how does a seed grow into a plant? And where do seeds come from? So be thinking about these questions as we move through the lesson together. Okay, let's get started. Okay, friends, for the first part of our lesson, you don't need any supplies. You are just going to follow along with me as I work with my helper, Sprout, to show you the different parts of a seed, okay? Are you ready to meet Sprout? Let's meet him. Okay, boys and girls, this is my friend Sprout. So Sprout is a really well-prepared hiker. Normally, I have a student volunteer to act as Sprout for this lesson. But since I don't have any students with me right now, I had to make Sprout up myself. So this is Sprout. Sprout is a very well-prepared hiker. And I want to talk about what a well-prepared hiker brings on a hike. First, let's think about what a well-prepared hiker wears to protect him or herself from the wind, rain, and cold. Do you see anything that Sprout is wearing that might protect him from the wind, rain, and cold? If you answered that hikers wear coats to protect them from the wind, rain, and cold, you are correct. And Sprout is wearing his coat right here. Sprout's coat can represent a seed coat on a seed. The seed coat protects the seed from the wind, rain, and cold. Now, as conditions change and it starts to warm up, Sprout can take his coat off to enjoy the warm, sunny weather. And just like Sprout enjoying the weather, when conditions are right for growth, the seed will absorb water and the seed coat cracks open. That's when the seed begins to sprout roots and leaves, or germinate. Did you get that? When the seed begins to sprout roots and leaves, the seed is germinating. Okay, Sprout, can you take off your coat so we can see what it looks like when a seed gets warm and absorbs water? Thanks, Sprout, for showing us what happens when a hiker gets warm and takes his coat off, or when a seed gets warm enough and absorbs water and sheds that outer seed coat. Now, boys and girls, can you tell me what else a well-prepared hiker brings on a hike? I'll give you a clue. Sprout is showing us right now. What's inside that backpack, Sprout? It looks like Sprout found some high-energy snacks in his backpack. Seeds also have a supply of stored food, just like Sprout, our hiker. A hiker's food is stored in the backpack, but a seed stores its food in the cotyledons. So our backpack here represents a cotyledon. Cotyledons provide the plant with the initial energy that they need to germinate and grow. Once the plant is established, the cotyledons fall off. Wow, Sprout. That's a nice cotyledon backpack you've got there. Now that Sprout has had a high-energy snack stored in his backpack, I think that all of this hiking has made Sprout get thirsty. What else do hikers bring on their journeys for when they get thirsty? If you said a water bottle, you are right. Sprout has pulled out his water bottle from his backpack. Plants also need water and minerals to grow. How do the plants get this water and the minerals? If you're thinking that the plants send out roots to absorb the water and minerals, you are right. This water bottle represents the roots that come out of a seed and start to absorb water. Wow, Sprout, you are a well-prepared hiker. You've got your backpack, your water bottle, and your jacket. Now, what happens if it starts to get bright and sunny? Sprout, do you have anything to help you with that? Wow, Sprout, you're so prepared. You had a hat in your backpack. Sprout's hat is similar to the first green leaves that a seedling puts out to absorb sunlight. The leaves use sunlight to make food for the plant. This process of making food from sunlight is called photosynthesis. Soon, the cotyledons will fall off, and the plant is now able to get energy from the sun. No more cotyledons. The leaves and the roots that you see still grew from a tiny plant inside the seed called the embryo. So the embryo around Sprout's neck represents that the leaves and the roots were connected by the embryo. Wow, Sprout. Thanks for bringing in all your hiking gear and helping us understand how a seed grows. Okay, let's move on to part 2 of our lesson. Okay, friends, so for part 2 of our lesson, you are going to need to gather some supplies before we get started. So, because April is chickpea month, I've chosen to use chickpeas for our dissection today, but you could also use lima beans. And our beans need to be soaked overnight. So this chickpea here has been soaked overnight and it's ready to go. You'll also want a magnifying glass if you have one. You'll want a clean work surface, a blank piece of paper, and some markers, crayons, or colored pencils for our diagram. Okay, let's get started. Okay, boys and girls, so the first thing that we are going to do with our soaked beans is peel off the seed coat. So you should all have your soaked bean. Here's my garbanzo bean, also known as a chickpea. And I'm just going to start peeling that coat. See that outer layer coming off? That's our seed coat. That is our beans protection from the weather. Did you know that chickpeas, our April harvest of the month item, were originally nicknamed chickpeas because some farmers thought that they looked like the head of baby chicks with a little beak? I could see it. All right, now that we have our seed coat off, the next thing that we have to try to do very gently is split our bean in half. It shouldn't be that difficult. There's already a nice little line that goes all the way around. So just going to try to split this in half. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. All right. Does yours look like mine? Do you notice any of the seed parts that we were learning about? Well, we already peeled off the seed coat. Now, the food, or the cotyledon, is this part right here, that whole thing. So that's where the seed gets the initial energy to germinate and grow. Those will be the first little leaves that we see. Now, it's difficult for us to see the leaves and the root. Put this half down. But we can see them beginning to form in the embryo right there. That's our embryo. That's where the root and the leaves will grow out of. Now, if you have a magnifying glass at home, use your magnifying glass to really explore your bean. Maybe using your magnifying glass will help you be better able to see those teeny tiny leaves and roots that will form out of the embryo. The next step, now that we have dissected our bean, is to make a scientific illustration with labels of the seed and all of its parts, either in a scientific journal or on a piece of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what my drawing looks like. Okay, friends, thank you for following along with me as I led you through that seed power lesson. And thanks to Sprout for being our helper today. Hopefully, as we move through that lesson, you were able to think about some of the questions I asked in the beginning. Some questions like, what makes a seed a seed? Hopefully, our activity with Sprout showed you why a seed is a seed and the different parts of a seed that make it a seed. Do you remember what germination means? If you forgot, you can rewind and listen to the part of our activity where we talk about germination. I hope you also have the answer to what is the seed coat used for? Where do seeds get their food? How do the roots and the leaves grow out of a seed? All of those questions and more were talked about during our awesome seed power lesson. So I hope you really enjoyed this lesson today. I hope you have an awesome seed diagram to leave this lesson with. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.